morning or good afternoon, whichever it is where you are. Thank you for joining me again here in my kitchen for another live recipe. So all of you guys who have joined us before, you'll know the deal. I get the live up on my computer here so that I can see all of your comments and questions. So please do say a quick hello. Let us know who you are, where you're from, you know, that type of thing would be lovely, so that we can welcome you into the group. So let me just make sure that I can see our live on here and that we are the right way round rather than sideways, which does sometimes happen and isn't always very, very helpful. So today I'm going to be making another summer recipe with you. So this week we have been making quite a few summer recipes with you just to get you guys ready for the season ahead. It isn't quite summer yet, especially on a day like today, which is fairly overcast, but hey ho, there we go, we are actually live, which is always a good start. Okay, let me see if I can see who is with us today. Sorry guys, my computer is being a little bit slow. Right, there we go, there I am. Okay, thank you for joining me. And we have Sarah who is here. Let me just turn the sound off here so that I don't hear myself. There we go. Always a good idea. Carly, thank you for joining us. Colleen, good morning, good morning. Amandine, lovely name, really beautiful name. Sarah has already had a guess at what is underneath our rainbow, but it's wrong. Jeff joined, who's in the other room. Hello. Thank you. And thank you for joining us again. So I hope that you guys can see me well because my picture is quite pixelated. So if you could just let me know in the comments if I look okay. I'm quite fuzzy. I am looking quite fuzzy, which is quite apt for today because I'm a little bit tired, I have to admit. So I do feel a bit fuzzy-headed, but anyway, there we go. Okay, so today's recipe, also good to see the laptop. There we go. Yeah, this is my trusty laptop. I can see all of your comments here, which is great. Yes, today's recipe is another summer recipe. Really easy, really tasty. Sue says that the picture looks great. That's really good to know. Okay, so as always, we have a rainbow in our kitchen. You guys already know where the rainbow is because it's really obvious, but you have to guess what is at the end of our rainbow. So we've already had one guess from Sarah who guessed it was a caper. It wasn't a caper, but she was close. Anyway, Jenny said that we look okay to her as well. Brilliant. Right, now, just before we get started, I wanted to let you guys know about tomorrow's show because, as you know, if I try to say these things at the end of the show, I end up forgetting because I'm so into like the whole recipe and eating the recipe and looking forward to lunch and that type of thing, and then all of those intentions go out the window. So, tomorrow's show we will be having a guest chef on. So with our Mondays at the moment, we're getting some guest chefs, some guest vegan chefs on the show. And tomorrow we have Cristiano, who is absolutely adorable, really lovely guy. His restaurant is called Picky Wops. That's Picky Wops. You spell it exactly how you just heard it, Picky Wops. And they are a vegan pizza place in London. So they're doing delivery at the moment, and they also are doing not only delivery of pizza, but delivery of things like flour and yeast and that type of thing. So if any of you guys are in London and you're in desperate need of flour, and they have really good flour, like really like primo Italian flour, 00 flour, that type of thing, then you can actually order from them. They're called Picky Wops. So Cristiano will be your chef for tomorrow. I don't know what he's going to make with you. I could assume that it would be pizza, but it could be something else. I don't know what he's going to make. So that is tomorrow. Okay, so we've had a few guesses as to what is at the end of our rainbow. And said, is it an olive at the end of the rainbow? No. Colleen, looks like a bean sprout. That's just my drawing. That is just my drawing. It's not a bean sprout. Sarah guessed caperberry. Yes, it was a caperberry. These are our caperberries, so we're going to be talking about those a little bit today. And these are an optional ingredient for your recipe. So Justine, thank you for joining us. Gloria, thank you for joining us again. Paul said that he can hear me good, which is great. Robbie! Robbie, thank you for joining us, Robbie from Plant Based News. And he said Picky What's Pizza is so good. So there you go, you have a good testimonial there. Sarah said, I hope it's pizza. Well, you know, we've left it to the chefs to do whatever they want to do. So Johnny, thank you for joining us again. Colleen, no, it's not a garlic clove. Robbie, no, it's not a spoon. It was a caper berry. So all of the things that are underneath our rainbow have something to do with the recipe. Something to do. I mean, the other day we did have Manuel from Faulty Towers, and the link was that we had basil in the recipe. So it can get a bit esoteric. So you have to kind of go with me on it. Karen, thank you for joining us again. Justine, hello. Hello. And Joan, I said I thought so too. Oh, about the spoon. Yeah. It does look a bit like a spoon. But no, it's our caperberry, and we will do a close-up of it right at the very end of the show so you can see my epic art student drawing skills. Sarah said, I'm trying to cut down on oil, so assume there's not a replacement for oil on this one. This is an oil-heavy recipe. It is an oil-heavy recipe, so maybe not good for you, Sarah. But, you know, this is a recipe that you could maybe use the base of, so, you know, the veggies and stuff like that, and mix it with the cashew cream rather than the oil. So, you know, I don't know, if you're trying to cut down on things like nuts that are high in oil as well, or is it literally just like this stuff? Colleen said, Happy Mother's Day. Now, don't everyone in the UK panic, because it's not UK Mother's Day. See, I get a bit of a panic, you know, I can feel like my blood pressure going when you said that. Cause oh my god, I haven't sent a card. I haven't sent a card. UK Mother's Day is not yet. I think it's US Mother's Day. Okay, just to get that clear. Colin, you're going to give me a heart attack. Okay, on to today's recipe. So first of all, we will start by making our mayonnaise. Now, the mayonnaise that I will be making today is more of an Italian-inspired mayonnaise. So it's going to be an Italian-inspired olive oil-based coleslaw. Sue has, she said that, Colleen, Happy Mother's Day in the US and Canada. Right, okay, I feel okay now. Sarah said that she's just not having processed oil but lots of nuts, so that's great. You could use a cashew cream. Robbie has suggested, Sarah, you could use vegan yogurt. That's a really, really great suggestion. That will have that tang to it as well. So yeah, that's a really good suggestion. And Paul has also confirmed that it's Mother's Day in the US, not here in the UK or Ireland, I think. Okay, so now you guys know how to panic me. Because, you know, I do have that panic every now and again where I'm like, because I don't live near to my family, so every now and again I'll be like, oh, have I missed someone's birthday? Because that would just be awful. That would just be awful. I love people's birthdays. Absolutely love people's birthdays. Which reminds me, yesterday was our Katie's birthday. So happy birthday, Katie, for yesterday. So Katie is our chef who does our show on Wednesday for us. And tomorrow is Louisa's birthday. So Louisa is one of our other assistants. So it's her birthday tomorrow. So in the Vegan Chef School, we've got quite a few birthdays going on. Okay, Sarah said, which type of cashew cream? There are so many different types. So when I say cashew cream, I mean making it yourself. So soaking some cashews in some hot water for about 30 minutes and then adding some water to it and blending it. And then you can add things like the lemon juice, you can add the capers, the caperberries, the mustard, all the other ingredients, and you can really get that tanginess. So, you know, it would be quite similar to what we're making. And Tony, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm sorry, but they've already guessed what's underneath the rainbow. I know normally, like, you're one of our professional rainbow spotters and what's underneath the rainbow, but they've already guessed it. It was a caperberry. Okay, right, so on to today's recipe. We've got some aquafaba here, straight from the can. We don't have to thicken it. I know some people like to boil it and thicken it. I try to develop recipes where we don't have to do that, because anytime that I can take a step out is always a good thing. Anytime I can save you guys on some washing up, always a good thing. Okay, so before I add anything else, I'm going to give this a bit of a blitz. And that is already getting quite nice and frothy. And then whilst this is blitzing or blending, while the hand blender is actually on, I need to start adding our oil. So in here we have some extra virgin olive oil, but it isn't too bitter. It isn't too bitter. So if your extra virgin olive oil, sorry, is quite bitter, then reduce the amount of extra virgin olive oil that's in it and increase the amount of the other oil that's in it. So the other oil that I'll be using today is walnut oil, but you can use any kind of neutral oil. Rapeseed oil is great because the colour is bright yellow, so it makes it look like quite an eggy mayonnaise. Sunflower oil is also good, vegetable oil, that type of thing. Just need to ask, what's a decent hand blender again? Do we need all the attachments? More of an on-topic question today. That's okay, we can go off topic. That's fine. So with a hand blender, this one is a Breville. It costs £24 from Argos. It's got a chopper attachment. I think it's 500 watts. I never buy a hand blender that is under 500 watts because I always get it to do quite a lot of work, as you can imagine. Always have this thing stuck to my hand. Makes showering quite difficult. Sorry. Sorry, I am a little bit tired today, so expect me to say some really stupid dad jokes. Okay, so yeah, that's the type of blender that I would suggest that you use. Jeff is so disgusted that he's actually leaving the room now. Okay, so hand blender on whilst we put our oil in. So we will drizzle the oil in. It doesn't have to be super slow, don't worry about that. You'll see. So while I'm blending it, see how this is moving around? So I'm really moving the blender around to make sure that it's all incorporating it. And note how I'm dribbling the oil down the side of the blender as well. That's a really useful thing to do because it also steadies your hand and it makes sure that the oil is, it's all going down like very steadily, which is a good tip for a good result. So we've got that incorporated, and I'm glad that you guys are being so supportive. Johnny says, yay for dad jokes. I swear that dad jokes, they just happen even if you don't have kids. You just get to a certain age and you start telling dad jokes. Okay, now for the walnut oil. Okay, can you guys hear that changes in sound? The sound changes of this blending, and that's because it's getting thicker now. Okay, it's getting really thick. So one of the reasons why I'm using such a high-sided bowl or jug, this is actually a bit of Tupperware, I use it because now it gets to this thickness, it will start to spatter. So, if it was a shorter jug or bowl, then it would start spattering at me, and it's oil, so you really have to be careful, that it's not going to get on you on your nice white clothes. So a high-sided bowl is really good. Although I don't usually comment much on your feeds, I do want to say that I love the small tips you always give. Sue, thank you. That is one of the things that we definitely decided at the beginning was our USP, was that we can give lots of these different tips because you know we know a lot about food, so we don't want to just give you one recipe and that's it, because to be honest we could just give you the written recipe and that would be it. We want to give you all of this information, so we do chatter quite a lot. Now I'm just going to add the rest of it. So Paula said that he couldn't hear, oh, he could hear the stress on the blender. Good. Once you've worked with something quite a few times and you get to know the sound of it, so it's just like, you know, when you know that the sound of your car is a bit off, like it changes. Same with, you know, any piece of kitchen equipment. Okay, just the last bit to incorporate. Done with this part of the recipe. Let me just take this out and you can see the consistency that we've got now. It's a real dollop consistency. So when you're adding the oil to the aquafaba, you'll get like 2/3 of the way through and you'll be thinking, this isn't doing anything, it isn't thickening, what's she talking about, this isn't going to turn into mayonnaise. But it's in the last third of that oil where the magic happens, so do bear with it. Occasionally it will fail, and I haven't figured out the reason for it to fail. But maybe kind of one time in 20 it's failed for me and it's split. So as I said, I haven't quite figured out why yet. Might be something to do with temperature. Aquafaba can be a little bit delicate when it comes to temperature. Okay, so now we're going to add the other ingredients. So we've got the extra virgin olive oil, which has already imparted a lot of this Italian flavour into the recipe. But now we want to add some other Italian ingredients to make it much more tasty, because at the moment it just tastes, you know, like quite boring mayonnaise. So we've got some capers here. These were capers that had salt on. So you can either get capers that are covered in salt or ones that are in brine. You can use either, but if you use the ones that are covered in salt, be sure to really wash them out. I use just like a little tea strainer to wash them out, because obviously, you know, really small amount. And so that looks like really lovely mayonnaise. It is really lovely, and it's a really good base recipe to play around with. So you can make something like a remoulade. So a remoulade is a mayonnaise, but it's with lots of other ingredients. So you can put celeriac with it, which is really lovely. And that is something that is traditionally served with fish. So, you know, if you're having something like, you know, you're making like a jackfruit fish recipe, like fish goujons, fish fingers, something like that, then a remoulade would be really lovely to have with it. Okay, so we're going heavy on the capers here, and this will give not only like a saltiness to the dish, but also a brininess as well. You can even add a bit of the brine to the mayonnaise for that extra kind of tartness. So we'll add a few caper berries as well, because I didn't have quite enough of the capers. So these are our lovely caper berries, really pretty, great for putting on top of dishes as well, just for a bit of decoration at the end. Again, quite briny, but these have, now let me see if I can show you guys. There we go. These have a lot of seeds in them. There we go, almost like passion fruit. You know when you open a passion fruit and there are all those seeds inside? Kind of like that. So the caper berries are actually the fruit, and the capers are the seed pods. And so the caper berries, because they have these little bits inside, they have a bit more texture to them. So there will be a bit more of a bite to it. And a sharpness. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love these ingredients, because you've got that lovely sharpness, that tartness to it. So just really roughly chopping these and pop them into our mayonnaise, and then we have our other ingredients. So we have some parsley. Justine said, can you leave the capers out? Completely. This is a real like choose your own adventure recipe. So we've got the base ingredients like the aquafaba and the oils. So that is essentially what will make the body of the mayonnaise. And then traditionally in a mayonnaise you have something like mustard, which we will be putting in. You guys know how much I like my mustard. So, but with the rest of the ingredients, it's really up to you guys. I think what did somebody call it the other day? One of our viewers called it a hurdy-burdy recipe. Was that it? I'm going to go with choose your own adventure recipe. And there's a lot of recipes that we show you like that. Try to make them as versatile as possible so that you guys can use up all of those back of the cupboard ingredients. Okay, so now I am actually chopping the parsley stalks, and I'm going to put the parsley stalks into the mayonnaise. So I've got a little bit of leaf there. And you'll see that I have been using my foil. So I've mentioned this to you guys a few times, but to anyone who's new, with my herbs, apart from basil, I put them into some foil. I wrap it carefully so that we can reuse the foil as much as possible, and then they go into the fridge like that, and they will keep for a really long time. Because you know, you get these herbs from the supermarket and they're wrapped in plastic, and they don't last very long at all. They just sweat if they're like that. My basil I buy in pots, and I keep it on the windowsill. And if it is quite cold, you know, if it's a winter month or an autumn month, then the plastic that the basil comes in, you know, that's around the pot is really useful, because it just means that it kind of retains a bit more heat. Basil is so sensitive to the cold. Okay, so we'll just pop all of that lovely green stuff in there. Parsley is so good for us. So this is a recipe where you could easily just put basil in it, or tarragon. Oh, tarragon would be lovely, really lovely. But we've got parsley in here today. And hurdy-burdy! There we go, Jenny, it was you, hurdy-burdy. There we go. I love that phrase. Okay, so we've got our parsley leaf, well, a few leaves, but mainly stem in there. Great way to use up your parsley stems. And then we've got some fresh lemon juice here. So you want maybe like 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and this is just going to give it a lightness. I don't think there's much left in there actually. There we go. This will give it a lightness. We could add the zest as well, but I don't want any more bitterness in there because the olive oil, the extra virgin olive oil, is already a bit bitter. So we'll just put 1 tablespoon in there for the moment, and then I'm going to taste it after we put all of our ingredients in there and just see if I want to adjust it at all. Okay, so now you can add some garlic. You can either add some fresh garlic, or if you're like me, if I have like raw garlic or raw onion, I'm tasting it for days to come, and it's not very pleasant because it's not like a fresh garlic taste. It's like it's kind of like a stale garlic taste, and it's really not pleasant. So in any raw dishes, I always use garlic granules if I want that garlic taste. So Johnny said, would the foil trick work for salad leaves too? I'm forever losing leaves to the bin. Okay, to be honest, I haven't had to use it, but I'm going to give it a try. I will give it a try. Doug said, same with spinach and kale. So yeah, I will give it a try, definitely. I didn't even think about using it for that. So I'm just going to add a few garlic granules, not too many. These are quite strong. These are a great thing to use as well, guys, if you fancy making any nut cheeses or any soya cheeses at home. Really, really great addition to cheeses, the garlic granules, the smoked garlic granules, and also onion granules. Really, really lovely. Okay, so we've got our lemon juice, our garlic. Oh, Dijon mustard, how could I forget? Some lovely Dijon. And really, again, up to you. I'm going to start with 1 teaspoon. It's likely that I'll put more in. And what else do we have? We have some freshly ground black pepper into here. So we're really imparting loads and loads and loads of flavour in this. And this is a recipe that will go really, really well with your barbecue. This is the reason why I'm showing this to you guys today with our summer recipes, and it will go really well with the recipe that I made with you yesterday, which was our barbecued mushrooms, which were amazing, and they would go really well together, and I could try it out, but we ate all of them. So that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Okay, we're going to add a good dash of salt. Again, I'm just going to leave it to the side and taste it after we've mixed it all in. So that is all of our ingredients that we need for this chunky, really flavoursome mayonnaise sauce that is going to go into our coleslaw. So I'm going to give it a really, really good mix before I taste it. Okay, so Freddie, what did humanity do before the invention of the wheel and the blender? I would not be able to live without my hand blender. Oh gosh, I use it like all the time. All the time. When I started cooking, I did have like a jug blender and, you know, those types of things, and then I discovered hand blenders and how versatile they are and how easy they are, and also how small they are, which is great if you've got a small kitchen. And yeah, always using hand blenders now. Okay, Elkie, that definitely needs more mustard. It needs more tartness. So mustard and some lemon juice, and then I will answer Elkie's question. I've never used the party stalk, so thanks for that tip. How do you decide when to use the stalks and when to use the leaves? It's more down to texture. It's really more down to texture. They have like a really, really similar flavour. So it's not a matter of flavour at all, it's just a matter of texture. And with this, I'm quite happy for it to be a bit chunky because we're going to have a lot of texture in it with the veggies anyway. So, you know, it doesn't need to be smooth at all. So, you know, if I was making something like maybe a pasta sauce and I wanted it to be really smooth, then I'd use the leaves because they'd be quite, you know, small and smooth and that type of thing. But party stalks, in fact, anything from the herb stalk, apart from the woody herbs. So the stalks that you could use are things like basil, tarragon, dill, fennel, you know, that type of thing. The stalks are really quite, they're quite soft, you know, and edible. You don't want to be eating things like thyme stalks. No. Okay, so I've added a bit more tartness. I do, perfect. I do really like more tartness in my food, more bitterness, more sourness. That's like where I'm at. So it's really, really up to you if you guys want to adjust. If you want to add more capers for more saltiness. If you want to add more black pepper for that pepperiness, it's completely up to you. Choose your own adventure recipe. And now Paul said coleslaw is from the Dutch term Coleslaw. Coleslaw, meaning cabbage salad. Yes, exactly. Okay, now on to our veggies. So, oh, Colleen said it was snowing there yesterday. I'm so sorry. It's probably really pretty. It's probably really, really pretty. We didn't actually get any snow last winter. Annalise, your name is nearly like mine. So my name is actually Danalise. I always shorten it these days. But yeah, I was born Danalise. So Annalise, very, very similar name to me. Welcome. The nutrient is very high in all the stalks, so always use them. And in stems of kale, broccoli, etc. You also have a lot of prebiotic. Oh, great. Thank you for that tip. And Tony said 120 ml of oil plus 220 ml of Nutella. Yes, there's a lot of oil in this recipe. There is. Paul said, do I have a reserve blender? To be honest, I think probably have about 8 hand blenders in the house. But you know, I'm a cookery teacher, I'm gonna have them. Okay, right, so onto the veggies that we're gonna be adding. Now of course, coleslaw, we always think of cabbage, hence what Paul was saying about the term coleslaw and where it came from. You know, it came from cabbage, but you can add other ingredients. So we're gonna add a bit of carrot as well, more because I like the colour, and yeah, that's it really. Also because it adds a good texture to it too, as well. So there is that. But you can use broccoli. So someone mentioned broccoli and broccoli stems and stalks that you can use. So broccoli coleslaw, broccoli slaw is a thing, and it's a great way to use up broccoli or Romanesco stalks and stems. Okay, Gloria said, I love the name Danley's. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was really tough to write when I was a kid. So the spelling, there's just one too many N's in there. So almost. But yes, it was one of those names that, you know, when you're a kid and you get the supply teacher in and they say your name wrong, for some reason when you're a kid that's really embarrassing, which seems crazy now that I say that it would be that embarrassing, but it was. Paul said, good to get the etymology of the name Day. Thank you. But yeah, now it's a name that I do like. But the only person that calls me Danelise is my mum. So whenever I am called that name, I always think that I'm in trouble. So we're just going to cut this down so that it's a bit more manageable, because we are going to mandolin it. These mandolins, they do scare a lot of people. A lot of my students are really scared of mandolins, but you just need to use them carefully. It even says here, watch your fingers. Even says it here, watch your fingers, just in case you didn't know how sharp they were. But these things are a godsend. And I remember my mum even using one of these in the 80s. I think they were quite popular around that time. And it just means that doing tasks like this are quicker, really quicker. You can also get mandolins that have a guard on, so you'll get like a plastic thing that will attach to the veg, and then you can actually like hold that rather than getting your fingers too close to the blade. Okay, and I'm going to stop there for today. Not with the show, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere, but with this. Because honestly, as I said at the top of the show, I am a little bit tired. And best not to mandolin too close to your fingers when you're a little bit tired. So there's our red cabbage. And I love red cabbage, firstly because of the colour. You know me with the colour of food. Really like things to be bright. But also, I like it because it's really economical to use, and a little bit goes a really long way. Amandine said, I have cut-resistant gloves for my mandolin. They're really worth it. Are they like those chainmail gloves that butchers wear? Is it that type of thing? Gosh, yeah, they would definitely work. Okay, so now onto our white cabbage. I'm cutting that again with our mandolin, and you can really go very fine with this if you want quite a delicate coleslaw. There we go, leave it there for today. And before we add anything else, I'm going to give this a bit of a massage, because what I thought today was that it's good to incorporate techniques that we've learned from other recipes. So the sauerkraut recipe that we learnt, you know, we massaged the cabbage and it made it wilt slightly. So I want to do that today because I don't want such a chunky coleslaw. So we're going to give this a good massage. Amandine said, no, they're made of fabric. Okay. Oh, if you can find a link, it'd be great if you could share that on our community hub, on our group. group on Facebook, that would be great, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people who would be interested to see what they are. Anna said, hi Day, I made your food waste cauliflower leaf dish, but it's not on the website. Can you add it? Yes, we'll have a look at that later on today, promise. Okay, so just massaging this, and it's really starting to wilt now, so it doesn't really take very long for it to wilt. There we go. And now just for the carrot, let me just rinse my hand off. And you do get a lovely purple tinged hand when you do that. And with our carrot, I'm not going to mandle it, I'm just going to take this really fine grater and use this. So I do want a fine grate on it, because, you know, this is already a bit wilted, so now it will be roughly the same texture. But this will be a bit lighter, a bit, you know, it's not so chunky as other coleslaws you might have. It has a bit of delicacy, a bit of finesse to it. Okay, there we go. No more comments, there we go. Right, just pop the carrot into here. Make sure we get all of those little bits and pieces. Ooh, there's a nice spoon. Okay, and now we can add our mayonnaise to it. Now you guys can decide how much mayonnaise you want to add to your veggies. You can always kind of like keep some off, you know, if there's too much here, then it's actually really nice just on its own. Really nice on its own. And you know, because it's got the capers in it, it's got the the mayonnaise, it's got the lemon juice in it. It is really good for any kind of like seaweed based recipes. So like the fish goujons, you know, the fishless or fish-free goujons that I mentioned earlier that I make with jackfruit, that would go really, really well with this mayonnaise. So you'll see, because I massaged it, you know, it's not, sorry, the veggies are, they're a bit wilted already. So this is incorporating really, really well. There we go. And that was what I was looking for. And all of those lovely colours are coming through. So I can see the orange, I can obviously see the purple, but because I mixed the purple and the white, it isn't too purpley. Now, once you've added the mayonnaise to this, always make sure that you taste it, because with the veggies, you know, the veggies will change the flavour of it, and it might just need a bit more salt. Okay, so there we go, guys. Oh, Amandine, you're on it. You're on it. Thank you for sharing that with us. So Amandine has just shared a link to a glove that you can use if you're using a mandolin and you're a bit worried that your fingers might not stay intact. Okay, thank you for joining us today. This is my mayonnaise recipe. Really lovely, really beautiful, pretty. Would go really well on your picnic or at your barbecue. So all this week we have been sharing lots of summer recipes. Yesterday we had a lovely recipe that was barbecue mushroom skewers with a lovely barbecue sauce. So that would go really, really well with this. As I said, it's not going to happen for me today because we ate them all yesterday. Of course we did. But another really, really easy recipe. This is super tangy. As I said, it's a choose your own adventure recipe. So do play around with those ingredients if you want to. This would make a great sandwich filler as well. So I'm sure that Jeff will enjoy it in his sandwiches this week too. Okay guys, mandolins, a whole new meaning to digital detox. Yes, exactly. Right, okay, so tomorrow, as I said, we have Cristiano joining us from Picky Wops. He will be making something, maybe pizza. Let's not assume, but might be. So Anna says, how long can you store aquafaba for, please? So if I'm not going to use my aquafaba straight away, I put it into the freezer. It freezes really well. Then when you need to use it, you can just bring it out and defrost it. And if it's still a little bit frozen when you whisk it, it really fluffs up very well. So that's how I tend to store my aquafaba. I'm not going to be using it straight away. In the fridge, it might be okay for about 3 days, and then it starts to smell a bit funky. The reason why is that chickpeas are so high in protein that they go off really quickly, and so therefore aquafaba can go off really quickly. Okay, Elkie said, does wilting the cabbage first help make it easier to digest as the cabbage is raw? It may do. That does sound like it's plausible to me, but I can't say for sure. Paul said, I thought mandolin was a musical instrument. Well, it is, but it's also a very trusty tool for the kitchen. Anna said, thank you Anna, and thank you everyone else for joining me today. As I said, same time tomorrow, different kitchen, different chef. Right, okay, well I'm off to have lunch or a snooze. Thank you for joining me again, and you guys have a lovely day.